Welcome to Snack and Pulse. Today we are going to be talking about Star Trek again. And that episode, the Space Adventure Hour, episode 4 of season 3. Was it really insulting fans? Or was it trying to do something else? And maybe missed a bit. Let's get into it.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
I am going to kick off straight away here and say I don't think the writers of Star Trek Strange New Worlds were trying to insult fans. This is not like that She-Hulk episode which directly mocked comic book fans. They didn't even try to hide it. They directly did call us a bunch of nerds. I don't think that's what they were trying to do. Now, I've just read an article and it basically said that they think that the writer's intention was to poke fun at people that a little bit, overly concentrate on the minutiae of Star Trek. They focus too much on some technology can or can't do this, or some alien race is this way and no other way. People that really obsess on Star Trek. I'm going to tackle that bit first. I don't think you should poke fun at what is basically your hardcore fan. That's just me. I think that your hardcore fans are the basis that you build everything else off. Now, can Star Trek fans be a little obsessive? Oh, God, yes. I am to a degree. I think canon is important to say here. And I think that it is a TV show at the end of the day. It's not real, people. But some people go to here. And they really obsess on every little thing. Now, Star Trek isn't the only fan base to have this. Star Wars fans are just as bad, and none of them are as bad as the Tolkien fans. Oh my God, Lord of the Rings fans take this thing seriously. They really obsess on everything, but they had a writer that also did. I'm going to go back to that because I think Gene Roddenberry was one of those people that was obsessive and really passionate about Star Trek. I'm going to come back to how he was then depicted in this episode a little bit later. So, yeah, I think you can be frustrated by fans that are a little bit pedantic about the show. And as creators, I can understand that that can be frustrating at times. But I would also say, just ignore it. It's on social media, it goes around. But fans talk. We do obsess a little bit. Social media is full of hate anyway. Just ignore it. I would actually say if there's 500 articles hating something and only 100 articles loving it, that shows a massive success because people don't write things down on social media unless they're really passionate one way or another. And people that hate something for whatever reason will go on social media. People that like something don't. Okay, people that get really offended because of somebody else saying they hate something, okay, they go on social media, but people that like or love something don't tend to get annoyed enough to actually write something. So, yeah, the loud majority on social media is basically a problem with lots of shows, not just Star Trek. I actually think here, though, that sort of making fun or poking fun at those that do obsess on these things is a dangerous game to play. Because all you're really going to do is, for one, give these people ammunition to throw back at you, and two, alienate your fan base. A fan base that already feels alienated by this TV show, in recent years at least. I would argue that really they've read the room completely wrong on this. That they think they could poke fun at this fan base and that maybe that wouldn't cause a little bit of a backlash. Maybe they are trying to make a point because they're frustrated by that with when they make creative decisions, it's seen with negativity. But I would say that when you've got an already divided fan base and you've got a fan base that already, in some cases, not all, but in some cases already think the new people in charge over at Star Trek don't really care about Star Trek and get frustrated by that, I think making these little jabs at those fans just really underlines what they're saying. That this is a management, creative bosses, that don't really understand Star Trek and don't really care about Star Trek. I don't think that's true. I think these people desperately care about Star Trek, but they have a vision for it that is maybe different to what us fans think. Some fans. But I think that's true in any sci-fi genre or any other genre that is continuing what happens before. Creators do have a slightly different vision. And if they did exactly the same thing again, if they did a show that was just exactly the same as what's come before, people would sit there going, oh, it's the same thing again, how boring. But if they do something that's different, the same people will sit there and go, yeah, they're breaking canon. So I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You guys know I'm a Stargate fan. They couldn't do SG-1 and then do Stargate Atlantis, which is very similar in lots of ways, very formulaic, but then try to do something different with SGU. Fans went nuts. But if they'd have just done another Stargate Atlantis, those fans would have just gone just as nuts. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. The other thing that the argument was that this is actually poking fun at what some people think Star Trek the original series was. Not is, was. Now, one of the examples we've got of this is Paul Wesley's impersonation of Captain James T. Kirk, played by Bill Shatner. Now, he actually did a statement saying that, look, I wasn't trying to impersonate him. I wasn't trying to even sort of do something similar to what Kirk did, as almost like, a love letter to him or whatever, a love letter to James T. Kirk and Bill Shatner. He said, I just decided to go my own way with it. I don't agree. He very clearly, in the fake episode sort of thing, does that thing that lots of people joke about Bill Shatner. He's almost basically impersonating sort of the Jim Carrey version of James T. Kirk that he did for Saturday Night Live. Something that William Shatner, Bill, has more than on one occasion said was insulting to him. That's not what he did. So why are they doing it? I'm sorry, but Paul Wesley really did continue that stereotype of William Shatner that's not fair. Now, again, I don't think it was the intention, but for me, that's insulting to William Shatner. And I don't think, again, it was done with those intentions, but that is the result. I think that Anson Mount's depiction of what would basically be Gene Roddenberry, again, is not supposed to be an accurate depiction of him. It's supposed to be sort of a caricature or whatever. Gene Roddenberry is notoriously, apparently, not easy to work with, or wasn't before he sadly passed away. He was very passionate about Star Trek, and he actually quit NBC over what he believed to be, their poor handling of the franchise. In the episode, he got fired. Now, even though it's not an accurate depiction of Gene Roddenberry, the creative decisions they went with are disrespectful. For one, they made him a drunk. Why do that? My point is, even if he was a drunk in real life, which, I don't know, but if he was, he's dead. We, as a society, don't tend to make fun of the dead. So why make him a drunk? I just think that's a creative decision that was poor. He also made him that he's screaming at the actors and saying, you just do it like a human being, which again might have been something Roddenberry did. But don't put it in this episode. Just have a little bit more respect for people, us fans, that think Gene Roddenberry was awesome because of what he did. We don't need a depiction that's maybe realistic. We would prefer something that showed a little bit of respect to these people that we revere. So, yeah, that's my feeling. Again, I'm just going to reiterate, I don't think this was the intention of the writers to actually make fun of the original series. I think they were trying to say something, but I think it required a little bit more effort on our side to try and understand what they were trying to get at than's fair. Because on the surface, this was an insulting episode to all Star Trek fans and Star Trek itself. And my problem is that lots of fans already think these creators don't like Star Trek. This just underlined the fact for a big chunk of the fan base. It doesn't matter what they intended. It's what they did. They missed the mark massively. But guys, get into the comments, tell me what you think. Do you think this episode was insulting? And I have to admit, open up your mind, try to think about it more than just the surface level. Again, I think they weren't intending to, but I think they missed the mark a little bit. Paul Wesley's pounced at the end. What was that about? So get into the comments and tell me what you think. But think about it. Try to be fair to these guys, because they were intending to do something a bit different with it, I think. Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see a lot of them before everybody else. I can't say fairer than that. Please go check that out as well. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.